Labuan Bajo, a piece of paradise located in eastern Indonesia. Labuan Bajo is a hidden paradise in eastern Indonesia. This village is located in Komodo District, West Manggarai Regency, East Nusa Tenggara Province, which directly borders West Nusa Tenggara and is separated by the Sape Strait. Labuan Bajo is one of 5 super priority destinations being developed in Indonesia. This destination is the gateway to Komodo National Park, which holds amazing natural beauty and world-famous ancient animals. Starting from the endemic Komodo animal on Rinca Island and Komodo Island, a row of exotic islands, underwater biodiversity, to beaches, everything can be discovered by starting your journey in Labuan Bajo. Enjoying the view of the twilight sky can also be another way to enjoy Labuan Bajo. This strategic spot for enjoying the beauty of the sunset is not far from Komodo International Airport. Tourists who visit can choose the destinations Bukit Cinta, Puncak Amelia, and Puncak Silvia, to capture the evening sky that soothes the soul. There is also the Rangko Cave, which has the charm of an oasis with its very soothing salt water pool. If tourists want to have an adventure in Labuan Bajo, a short trekking to Cunca Wulang Waterfall could be the best choice. Don't miss the exciting experience of trying out live on board, namely trying to live on a pinisi ship for several days while sailing to visit beautiful islands, and you can also dive to see the special underwater beauty of Labuan Bajo. Gate to heaven on earth. Labuan Bajo and Komodo National Park are one inseparable entity. The two are connected so that when visiting tourists are in Labuan Bajo, they need to visit Komodo National Park. To get there, tourists can use a ferry or fast boat. There are many departure options from morning to evening. Komodo National Park, which was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1991, consists of Komodo Island, Rinca Island, Padar Island, and several other islands in the surrounding area. The presence of the Komodo dragon Varanus komodoensis, which is a giant lizard in the world, was first covered in a scientific journal in 1912. The journal was written by Peter Antonio Wenz, director of the Bogor Zoological Museum. This discovery was the beginning of the existence of Labuan Bajo in the eyes of the world, because many tourists and scientists came to see the aura, as local residents call the Komodo dragon. When tourists are in Komodo National Park, they will be presented with several amazing attractions. One of them is taking a photo with Komodo. This will be an unforgettable experience of a lifetime, namely taking photos with rare animals that only exist in Indonesia. Apart from Komodo dragons, this national park is also famous for its enchanting panorama. Tourists who like photography must include several spots here as places to take photos. Call it Padar Island, which is iconic with its hill-shaped island and gradations of blue sea in the background. Kalair Island is no less cool. The view of the island and clear blue sea from the top of Kalair Island is too beautiful to miss. Another spot that you shouldn't miss is Pink Beach, or what is known as Red Beach by local people. Do you know the red color on this beach apparently comes from microscopic animals and reddish coral fragments around the coast? History of Labuan Bajo, an exotic natural tourism destination with Komodo. The history of Labuan Bajo comes from articles written on the IndonesiaJuara.Asia website. Let's look at it together. History of Labuan Bajo from past to present. You should know that this natural tourist island has quite a long history. Starting from its discovery by European explorers, to its development in the hands of the Indonesian government. Therefore, let's look at the story behind Labuan Bajo below. 1. Migration destinations of various ethnicities. Its history begins with the journey of various ethnic groups who crossed the sea before they landed on this island. Would you believe that some of these groups of people came from outside Indonesia? They come from far away places. There are even ethnic groups who come from Madagascar. The Bajo people from the Sulu Islands, Philippines, are one of the ethnicities that have migrated most to Labuan Bajo. However, they slowly experienced cultural acculturation with the local community, including the Bugis, so that they became close. For hundreds of years, this island slowly grew and developed. Finally, from the acculturation of the Filipino Bajo tribe with local indigenous communities, the name Labuan Bajo was born. The word Labuan in their language means a place to anchor or anchor a ship. 2. Indonesian pirate harbor. Can you imagine that this island was once a pirate nest? This is no joke, because a group of pirates from the Bajo, Ilocano, Tobolo, and Sulu tribes were based on this island in 1795. This is the history of Labuan Bajo, which is rarely known by our people and tourists. Then in 1823, the pirates raided the Manggarai area in the north of the island of Flores. From there, this gang finally made a new headquarters around South Kalimantan. So, they could ambush ships sailing to Makassar or Ujung Pandang. 3. Colonization by colonialists. Next, the history of this island continues to the period of colonization by the Portuguese and Dutch and their missionaries. The VOC organization from the Netherlands in 1667 succeeded in winning the war against the Goa Kingdom and took control of Labuan Bajo. The Dutch East Indies colonial government only managed the administration of this island legally in 1907. 3 years later, a soldier named Stijn van Hensbroek led an expedition to track down the whereabouts of the Komodo dragons. As soon as the Japanese colonialists entered and controlled Indonesia in 1943, Labuan Bajo Island automatically passed into Japanese hands. However, after the proclamation of Indonesian independence in 1945, the local people of Labuan Bajo lived peacefully without interference from any colonialists. 4. Labuan Bajo as a UNESCO World Heritage. Now, after Indonesia's independence, Labuan Bajo Island has returned to our hands as its legal owners. Because Indonesia has designated this island as a World Heritage Reserve, local and foreign tourists can learn more about the history of Labuan Bajo. The international organization UNESCO was the one who established World Heritage status in 1991. Together with Komodo Island, the Indonesian government enshrined this island as a Komodo conservation center and natural tourist attraction. Do you understand the history of Labuan Bajo? That is a brief explanation regarding the history of the natural tourist island of Komodo, whose charm is very global. Want to go on holiday to Labuan Bajo to see the Komodo dragons up close? Don't forget to pay attention to all the visiting rules so you can make your holiday more enjoyable. Typical Labuan Bajo souvenirs. If tourists want to bring souvenirs home from Labuan Bajo, there are several typical souvenirs that you shouldn't miss, one of which is the typical Tanah Manggarai Songk cloth. This cloth is generally black in color with various colorful motifs on it. As with other Indonesian fabrics, Songk motifs are very diverse and have their own meanings. There are several Songk cloth motifs that tourists need to know, namely, 1. Ranggong spider symbolizes honesty and hard work. 2. Welakao kapok flower, which means the connection between humans and the natural surroundings. 3. Welarunaruna flower, which symbolizes that the Manggarai people are like small flowers but are a source of beauty. 4. Entala star, which means good hopes and prayers. 5. Jui border lines, which has a deep philosophy that everything has an end point. Tourists can stop by the souvenir center located in front of Komodo International Airport to get the Songk cloth. Tourists can also use some of Labuan Bajo's typical culinary delights that shake the tongue as souvenirs, such as Manggarai coffee, which is famous for its unique bitter taste, Kompiang bread made from wheat with sesame sprinkled on top, or snacks made from processed rice flour, and grated coconut, called rebuk. Access to Labuan Bajo. Labuan Bajo can be accessed by land, sea, and air. The beauty of Komodo Island with its rich local culture and exotic islands around it makes Labuan Bajo a potential and frequently visited tourist destination. 1 Airline. If tourists want to use air transportation, Transnusa Airlines directly connects Labuan Bajo with several cities in Indonesia, such as Makassar, Semarang, Balikpapan, Kupang, and Mataram. If tourists are from Jakarta, you can go to Labuan Bajo with several airlines such as Batik Air and CityLink. Departure schedule is between morning and afternoon. The travel time from Jakarta to Labuan Bajo is only around 4 hours. Tourists can also travel to Labuan Bajo from Chuyantan Airport in Flores, France Sales Leg Airport in Ruteng, or H. Hasanaro Ibo Esman Airport in End. 2 Land route. Taking a road trip to Labuan Bajo via Flores is also interesting to try. The travel route starts from Flores, Bajoa, Ruteng, Nangkar, Mbaera, until arriving in Labuan Bajo. Another alternative is from Flores, to Riung, Wera, Ruteng, Nangkar, and Mbaera before ending in Labuan Bajo. This road trip can take up to 12 hours. If you want another alternative, tourists can use the bus from Bali to Mataram, Lombok. From there, tourists will continue their journey to Bima in Sumbawa and then continue on to Sape. When arriving in Sape, tourists can take a ferry to Labuan Bajo. 3 Sea route. Interested in enjoying a trip by sea transportation to Labuan Bajo, tourists can board the Leusir ship from Pulni, which sails from Makassar, South Sulawesi, or the Pulni ship KM Binaya, which departs from Denpasar Benoa to Labuan Bajo. Those are the things tourists need to know about Labuan Bajo. Apart from tourists being able to find out what is interesting in Labuan Bajo, tourists can also capture moments of the view and atmosphere of Labuan Bajo via gadget or camera.